Hello, dear friends. Welcome, welcome to our Wednesday day. We're continuing with a wonderful story from ancient scripture Srimad Bhagavatam about Avadhuta Brahmana, who was learning from the world around. And as we are going more and more in this story, you will see how it's so interesting how we, when we connecting ourselves with the objects around and starting to use them as something which can help us to make self-determination, to make better, how to say, decisions in life just from observing the things around ourselves. Today, in this Wednesday, I'm here alone. It will not be there will not be my wife, who is wonderful support for me, and we have some things to do, and she also needs to rest a little bit. But we will make for you a wonderful evening anyway. When husband and wife are together and they're working together, it's the best thing. It is the most complete thing, and especially when they cooperate nicely, when husband and wife cooperate nicely. Probably you notice in your life, when you cooperate with your husband or your wife, everything starts to be so beautiful and so empowered by whole universe. But like always, for beginning of this evening of still it's some let's say still it's some kind of pandemic situation in the world, and many people still are at their homes. In our place here in Croatia, people are here is almost like nothing is happening, like nothing is problem. But I heard that still on many places in the world, there are still people, they cannot still go out of their homes, their places, and they cannot leave apartments even, some of them still. But, and therefore, we still have a name for this evening, like evening for our present situation with this coronavirus, the singing of the mantras. We will discuss a little bit and sing mantras and share some wisdom, like we already mentioned from this ancient scripture Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us start to sing these wonderful mantras, and thank you very much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe if you desire, and to leave some comment there, gives us your thumbs up. And let's start. You can relax, take a deep breath. Focus on your breathing system, on a breathing procedure. Feel how you inhaling the air through your nose, how air is filling the lungs, how by this procedure your brain activity, your brain frequency, your mind, your emotions, they're becoming calmed, they're becoming, how to say, freed from pressures, from anxieties, from impressions during the day which you collected. Continue to breathe. I want you to try to feel your voice. I will sing something, and you can try to repeat after me. You can do it silently, you can do it loudly, if you're able now to do it. And you will feel how just by simple singing you can come into contact with yourself with full capacity. You can repeat after me. very special mantra we will sing now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Hope you was enjoying. Hopefully you was enjoying. So this was a very special melody. It is the very special raga called Shivranjani raga. And usually people singing this song, this melody actually at evening when it's very suitable and it creates very deep and very, how to say, very deeply sweet atmosphere where we can go very deeply inside, and by the wind of singing of our voice and the boat of mantra, we can come very nicely, very deeply into the most sacred regions of our heart. So let us start with our story. Please, if anything is not good, sound, video or something, please inform us. We are both here. So, last 2 times he was speaking about a very special person called Avadhuta Brahmana. Avadhuta means someone who is a little bit out of all rules, natural rules, social rules, and like this, but he's totally in synchronization with everything, and it is a specific kind of personalities from whom we can actually learn a lot. So here, for those who are here for the first time, this is a story when one king called Yadu met this Brahmana and asked him how can he be free from anxiety, from stress, from fears, from worries too much, and all these pressures which all of us can experience during our days. And this Brahmana, this very special, unique personality, he started to answer to him that he can be in such a position, he can be free, he can feel free, experience freedom, experience synchronization, experience connection with everything and everyone around, only because of one specific attitude, and that is that he took, how to say shelter, or he took let's say shelter from many spiritual masters, which are here counted in this part of this book, 24 of them. And the last one was the water. If you desire to hear about previous ones, please, you can check our previous videos. But the next teacher is the fire. So let's see what Brahmana learned from the fire. So here is described how people who are like this Avadhuta Brahmana, very unique people, introspective people who are they're giving their best to see things behind the words, to see what is behind the thoughts, behind the words, and to be in deeper connection. So he said here that by doing these efforts, he said, the person becomes strong. We develop strength. If we don't do such activities, it's described here, then we become weak, we become good victims of, good victims of fear, anxiety, stress, all such things. So to make this resolution inside, to make this determination, I will take a little bit in my hands how I feel, how I think, how I experience the world, and in this way, this Brahmana said, in this way you get strength. So he said, the consciousness of such a people is unshakable, because they don't enjoy others for their own selfish purposes or the world. They're trying to contribute, they're trying to, give their best and extract the best from the world. I will tell you one short story with Buddha. Buddha was walking, traveling, and he met one villain. And villain said, I will kill you now. And Buddha said, please, before you kill me, fulfill me my last desire. And this one said, okay, I will be merciful. Tell me your last desire. And Buddha said, please, can you cut this branch on this tree? And he took his sword and cut the branch, and the branch fell immediately, totally, and he was very proud. And the villain said, and what now? What do you want me to do now? And Buddha said, please take this branch and put it back. And the villain said, come on, nobody can do this. This is foolish. And Buddha said, you are the foolish guy, he said, because you think like that is strong, that is good to make violence and to destroy things. But that's he said, Buddha said, that's for children. Children can do this. But it's very hard. Like it's hard to return this and to maintain this branch there. It's very hard to maintain healthy, to contribute to stay healthy, to contribute in healthy way to the people, to help others, to build things, to to support the world and everything what is happening around you. So this is the really good thing. Like he said, the consciousness of such a person becomes unshakable because they don't want to enjoy things around themselves in a selfish way. Of course, everybody wants to enjoy, but such a kind of personalities, they know what is enjoyment. They know that the true enjoyment is when everybody around is happy as much as possible, and everybody, when they come together and when they emanate their happiness, their connection, it is the best enjoyment. So this kind of personalities, they know this. So he said here also what he learned from the fire. I mean, all these things like making such efforts by making your consciousness unshakable, make your inner determination unshakable. It's like a fire. And he said, even if he eats something bad, for example, he said, it doesn't touch him because his knowledge and his spiritual experience and this strength and this unshakable position inside of him is burning everything, all consequences which could be there from bad foodstuffs. They are burned like fire. It's burning the firewood. So that's what Brahmana learned from fire. So also what he learned from the fire more. A saintly person is just like a fire, sometimes appears in a concealed form and at other times reveals himself. Sometimes you cannot know, when you walk around, who is a specific person, who is a special person, who is not. And in this way, we can maintain our respect to others. Because never you know who is who. Like fire. Fire is always present, for example, like an element in a wood. But when you connected with other fire, this element awakens and the wood starts to burn. Or he said here, what else he learned from the fire? He said that sometimes such people, they becoming like some spiritual masters, they become like some guru, some yogi, some sadhu, and other people are coming to them and telling them their hearts, their minds, their fears, their anxieties, their stress. They share with them this, and they're like a fire also, taking all this from them and burning to the ashes. So this is what Brahmana learned from the fire. And this is one also wonderful example of fire. Just as fire manifests itself differently within different kinds of fuels. For example, there is different kinds of wood. You have wet wood, you have dry wood, you have wood with a better energy, wood with lower energy consistency. But the soul, like soul, enters into different bodies. In the same way, when you make fire with different kinds of woods, with different kinds of fuels, the fire becomes differently manifested. In the same way, when soul enters the same spiritual entity, when we enter in different kinds of bodies, we become differently manifested, differently appeared, like a fire becomes differently manifested through different kinds of woods or fuels. In the same way, so like it's said here, it's a very good example. Like when soul, the same spirit soul, enters into different bodies, it expressed itself differently. So, the various phases of one's material life, beginning with birth and culminating in death, are all properties of the body and they do not affect the soul. Just as the apparent waxing and waning of the moon does not affect moon itself, such changes are enforced by the imperceptible movements of time. So here the next teacher is mentioned, and it's the moon. What he learned from the moon. For example, moon is always present there in the sky, but sometimes you start to see him like a young moon, and then he's growing, and then again disappearing. But moon stays there. If you pay nice attention, when you see young moon, you can see the rest there, but it's dark. You cannot see. In the same way, also soul, in contact with the matter, with the body, becomes manifested and becomes very small child, and growing, and then disappearing, and life finishes. But the soul doesn't finish. Neither mind, neither energy of the being. It's there still, like moon is always there, but just this light is disappearing from outside, visible thing. Like body is visible to our gross eyes, our three-dimensional eyes, to say like this, and after some time the body becomes destroyed after the death and goes back to the earth. The flames of fire appear and disappear at every moment, and yet this creation and destruction is not noticed by the ordinary observer. Similarly, the mighty waves of time flow constantly, like the powerful currents of a river, and imperceptibly cause the birth, growth, and death of innumerable material of these bodies which we're using. And yet the soul, who is thus constantly forced to change his position, cannot perceive the actions of time. Now, what he learned? Now, next teacher is coming is the sun. So now we mentioned the moon. It was fire, moon, and now sun. Just as the sun evaporates large quantities of water by its potent rays, and later returns the water to the earth in the form of rain, similarly, a saintly person accepts all types of material objects with the senses, like we all accept different objects with the senses. And at the appropriate time, when the proper person has approached him to request them, he returns such material objects or knowledge. Thus, both in accepting and giving up the objects of the senses, he is not entangled. So, like sun here evaporates with its power. If was not clear enough when I was reading, so sun with its power evaporates water in the clouds, and then by its power again, it drops the rain somewhere where it's needed, and again water is evaporated in the clouds, and like this constantly is happening. In the same way, we as the soul within the body, here described someone who already knows this, someone who sees this thing. He's like a sun. He taking everything through senses, collecting experiences, collecting insights and different things from world around, collecting in the body, in the mind, by the agency of the brain. You export out through body and share with others. So like a sun. Sun is always very, very far from the clouds. Like we as the soul, we're always very far and not touched by the clouds actually. So in the same way, this kind of personalities who can see this, they know that they're like a sun. They're taking the knowledge with the senses in the clouds and the body, and giving and sharing after where is needed. Even when reflected in various objects, the sun is never divided. Nor does it merge into its reflection. Only those with the not developed intelligence would consider the sun in this way. So people who don't think deeply, they think that the sun is present in a reflection on the water. So similarly, although the soul is reflected through different material bodies, like a sun, the soul remains undivided and non-material. So this is what Brahmana is learning about self-realization, about the self, through, and he's sharing with us through different things like in planets, like a sun, like a moon, elements like fire, like water, and so on. So here's a wonderful example how even if sun is reflected in innumerable objects on the wall, on the water, the sun is actually never divided. He's always there, not touched with the reflection of water, not touched with when wind is blowing, is moving the water, and sun looks a little bit disturbed. But actually, the sun is not touched by this disturbance of wind produced by the blowing of the wind, because the sun is far there. So this is what Brahmana also learned from, what he learned from the sun. And contemplating his inside world, his inside self, his real self, that he's like a sun. Actually, although manifested, reflected in different bodies, he's actually never touched, nor because it's non-material. So the next teacher is the pigeon. One should never indulge to selfishly express affection or concern to anyone or anything. Many times we expressed our concerns or our affection without real need, just out of some different motives. I can tell you one small story that once there was a funeral and the family was there. They was burying their son, and there was all sad. But on the side there, under the tree, there was some person who was a little bit more far there. He was crying constantly, and everybody was watching from time to time, and they was saying, "Wow, look at this person. Probably this person knew him very well. We need to ask him. Who is he?" And after the funeral, they approached to this person and they asked him, "Oh, dear sir, we don't know you. You was crying so much while we was performing this funeral ceremony. But can you tell us who are you? Did you knew him?" He said, "No, I was not crying because I knew him. I was crying because I didn't know him." So many times we express our affections, our concerns for the world, or for some people, out of some different kinds of interests, motives, unconscious interests. So here he said that otherwise, if we pay such a selfish, that's actually selfish attention. It's not conscious. You don't feel where is your place. Where do you really feel someone? Where is your true, emotion? When you truly, associated with someone, when you're truly exchanging some emotions, some thoughts with someone, or when you searching to express your emotions because you want to be accepted, you want to feel I don't know what. There's a big difference between these two things. And he said, if you express such a kind of affection and concern for anyone or anything, you will experience great suffering. So this is the points here is just like a foolish pigeon. So he will say now the story about the pigeon. I will not read the story about the pigeon now. If you're interested to know the story about the pigeon, because a little bit it's longer, I will not now read the story. You can contact us and we will share with you the story. It's a very interesting story. So to repeat, excessive selfish affection and concern for things or people around, which is unconscious and which is motivated with different things, will bring only suffering. We need to know, to feel our heart, to know why I'm now doing this, what will happen from this, and why, or sometimes we don't need so much to think. Yes, but it's very good to think about it, to see, to not to hurt other people, not to hurt yourself, not to put too much load over yourself, and carry load of other people, of the things around without any purpose. So now it's going to the story of the pigeon. I will now just a little bit move. You see, you can see this ancient book called Srimad Bhagavatam. It is how to say, like summarization of all Vedic scriptures, and it's written by Veda Vyasa. It's a literal incarnation of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and he appeared to write Vedas, and he summarized all Vedas into Srimad Bhagavatam, all points of the Vedas. So, still here is the story of the pigeon. You see, it's very long. Now, coming to the second story, this book is very big, and sometimes he explains the examples of teachers from the world around through stories, and we will skip this part. Like I already said, if you desire to know about these stories, to go into them, you can contact us. We can share together. We can send to you, or somehow we can make you closer to this. So now he's sharing what he learned from the prostitute Pingala called. When we have open heart, when we have open mind, we can learn from anyone and anything. People usually, when they see prostitute, they usually reject such a people. But it is said that every sinner has a future, and every good man has a past. So now we going to the next teacher. It's a python. I will tell you what he learned from the Pingala, from prostitute. Following the example of python, one should give up of too much endeavors. You know, when you're making so much endeavors, you don't achieving nothing. You just spending your every day doing something. You thinking, you feel like you don't achieve anything, like you're just losing energy. And he said what he learned from the python. He probably was observing python, and how things was coming to the python without his will, and by the providence, to say like this. And he could see that the food was coming to him by its own accord, and whether such a food was delicious sometimes for python and sometimes was less delicious. So here now, this Brahmana, they're describing a little bit how a person who is interested to know himself, yourself, to investigate, to be a little bit more deeper, to experience inner happiness, inner peace, deep inner peace, that we should be, he said, to act only with things which are allotted to us, which are given to us, to not spread because of expectations, because of feelings or need for acceptance, because of need for connection, because you could feel that you're not connected, you're not loved, and you're pushing us around, and you want to be loved, you want to push others to love you, to associate with you, to give you, to fulfill you, to feed you your emptiness inside. So he said we should avoid as much as possible such a kind of efforts, and try to recognize them, try to to make this balance inside, and then through balance and through seeing such a things inside, we go outside and with our true potentials to collaborate, to associate with people, and to share them, to really give and to really exchange love and connection. So here I will stop with we stopped with the Python. He just a little bit elaborated the example of Python here, like, you know, Python doesn't make so much endeavors, you know, but food is coming to him, the home is coming to him, everything is there, provided for everyone. You just do it. He doesn't say here you shouldn't work, you shouldn't do your duty, you shouldn't and make endeavors to achieve your happiness. That's very important, of course, but he says that we cut something what is like, for example, I will just share this on the end. There was a group of artists which were engaged by the king. He asked them, please, can you make an elephant from me? I will give you the best piece of wood and you please create an elephant. And they got big piece of wood, a very, very huge piece of wood. And they was working around, working for some months. And after finishing it, they created a beautiful, very wonderful elephant. And the king came and he saw, wow, this is the best elephant I ever saw. Please tell me how you created this elephant. And they said, because there was this artist that was wise, there was like saints. They said, we just cut it everything what is not elephant. So this was the simple answer. Of course, they were speaking with him a lot, but they on the beginning said this. So in the same way, all this knowledge which we share now with you in this our Wednesday program, our Wednesday evening, the evening of pandemic situation, the balancing pandemic situation with the singing of mantras and the sharing of deep, wonderful wisdom. We can cut everything what is not us, you know, to reduce extra not needed efforts, meditations, you know, worries, stress and all such things by this wonderful knowledge and this wonderful insights from this Avadhuta Brahmana. We can really make our life successful, we can make our life balanced, and so we can provoke, we can, you know, extract the best of us, our best potentials, and use them for the best in our whatever is your life, and make it the best for others and for yourself. So here we will stop, and in the next episode, in the next Wednesday, we will share with you the rest of gurus or teachers, what he was learning from whom he was learning from. I will not tell you who is the next teacher. Please stay with us. Come next time. Visit us next time. And now we will sing a little bit together with you. together a few times, sing Om mantra. We can sing 3 times. And you can meditate, you can contemplate inside how with the breathing you bringing the balance within your body, within your mind, within your brain. You can repeat after me. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully see you the next Wednesday, when we will discuss with you in this our modern situation, in the modern time situation, in the pandemic situation, the beauty of mantras, the beauty of the sounds, and the beauty of wisdom, which can really release our heart, our mind, our bodies from excessive worries, from stress, from anxiety, from different kinds of fears, because it is said that when we discuss about the truth, the fear is removed. But it's so rare that we can meet someone today and discuss about the truth. Mostly everyone speaking about their own truth, and they try to convince others in their own truth, and to and in this way collect their own worthiness inside, and to collect somehow feeling of acceptance, of worth, of belongingness, But that's not the way. The best way. That's not the best way to say like this. But the best way is to discuss about this real gems of wisdom, and we, from our side, we will continue to share with you in Wednesdays, this specific topics about wisdom. And I will also I will say to you, thank you very much for visiting us, and in the name of my wife, I will also greet you, because she's missing you a lot, and like we complement each other in the best way. So we are for each other. We are all for each other, the best presence which we could have. And so thank you very much. See you next time. Maybe even day after tomorrow. No, pardon. Tomorrow is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday we have Kirtan evening, and probably, hopefully, see you there and meet you